That's not an exaggeration. I mean, was it directly? No, but because of the work he did and uncovering this, they were then able to go after Trump, and that fake Trump University found out how he was ripping off these students. They sued him, and he got a judge to make an agreement, and he had to pay back $25 million a student. He's the only guy I know that made Donald Trump cough up the money and pay back the students. I'd campaign on that one if I were you. So I got to know him then, and then when I left the Senate, he stayed there, but then he went to work for my good friend Sherrod Brown, who's a great senator from the state of Ohio. And I wondered, I didn't know until he just told me. I mean, I knew he was running for Congress because he emailed me, and we had emails going back and forth. I didn't know what had triggered it. And when he said about the travel ban, I could understand that. I can understand that. And as some of you may know, Kia knows this, my mother was an immigrant. And my mother came to this country not speaking English very well. In fact, she never spoke English very well. And a lot of times she would wear her native costumes of Yugoslavia. And you know how kids are. You know, kids, you know, and we lived in a small community. And we'd go to church, and we'd sing, but my mother couldn't sing in English, so she would sing in Serbo-Croatian or whatever it was. And we were always embarrassed by that. Kids are embarrassed by that. You know, your mom singing the song. People look at her and wonder what she was singing. I often thought about that. And I thought about how she raised 6 children. They all went to college. They all became productive members of our country. And so when Kia said, because of the travel ban, I said, you know, you're right. This is a country built by immigrants. There were some people that came here from other countries that sought a better life. And they made America. So to be against immigration is to be against me and my family and where they came from. I think about this a lot, and what Donald Trump is doing to make us dislike people because of the color of their skin or their religion or their origin, what countries they came from. It's just wrong. It's just wrong. You know, the one thing I've always appreciated about not only my family, but other families. We live in a community. There were a lot of immigrants. There were Italian immigrants, Yugoslavian immigrants, Greeks, some Polish people came. And so we lived in diverse communities. There were African Americans that lived in this area too, that came up from the South after the Civil War. So I always had this kind of sense of we're all kind of in this together. We're all together. The other thing I believed as I grew up was that, you know, in America, there's nothing wrong with making money. There's nothing wrong with having a nicer home and a nice car and sending your kids to better schools. I mean, I went to state-supported schools. Where do my kids go? They go to Princeton. Well, my folks could never afford to send me to Princeton, but I could afford to send my kids to Princeton. That's it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's this ladder of opportunity that I've talked about all my life. See, I believe in a ladder of opportunity where it's not, again, I didn't say an escalator, did I? See, an escalator's a free ride. But with a ladder, you still have to exert energy and effort and initiative to get to the top. That's why I always call it a ladder of opportunities. But in order for